So I had a question in my community chat. Which two American institutions have more power than the U.S. president? The Society of Jesus itself is not an American institution. The other answer was the Supreme Court. The president doesn't have power over the Supreme Court, although the Supreme Court, being non-partisan, means that the president really can't really exert influence over the Supreme Court unless if he has appointees that are willing to break their oath of upholding the law versus serving partisan needs. But the two institutions that have more power than the president is the Federal Reserve Central Bank and the Pentagon. Period. Let's start with the Fed. The Fed bankrolls the corporations. When corporations buy the campaigns of the politicians, the bankers are the ones who have control over the nation's money and credit. They're the ones that hold the power over the president of the United States. They're the ones that are selling these bonds to corporations. They're the ones that have the tools to bail out these same corporations at any time during the financial crash, because that's what 2020 brought to us, was all those bailouts of these corporate bondholders. And without it, the economy would have definitely crashed. The stock market would have certainly crashed. A president would like to exert power by going to war. But what can he have? What must he have in order to go to war, in order to gain that power? Is enhanced credit, is financing to finance military personnel, military vehicles, and travel in order to exert his own power in the war. But he cannot do it without the central bankers. The central bankers are the ones who can control how a war is doing based on which concentration of their financing goes to which particular side. This is how the bankers have control over the president. This is how the Fed has control over the economy. The Fed banks set the interest rates at the side. Are they going to put more QE, quantitative easing, into the money circulation? Or are they going to take money out, which could bring deflation, which is a decreased value of things that you buy? So the Federal Reserve Bank definitely has more power over the president of the United States. They hold the strings to the economy. But who holds the strings in regards to the American military? The president doesn't have real power over the American military. The real people that have got the power over the military is the people that are buying and selling the weapons in the first place. And this brings us to the Pentagon. The Pentagon really dictates which contracts go out to any one of their buddies out there that are selling weapons that we use to bomb Yemen and the Middle East, and in some cases, operations in Africa, in Central America. These retired military personnel sell out their country, sell out so-called national security, sell out their country, sell out and steal and pillage from the taxpayer in order to profit off of making money off of military weapons. They are the ones. The Pentagon has more power over the president. This is just the reality. And this is what turns us to Afghanistan in the first place. It isn't Biden doing this. It's not Trump doing this. Over a year ago, they knew we're going to drop out. Everybody knew this was the outcome. Yeah, and Biden knows this, and Trump knows this. They're all just listening to orders from their higher-ups in the Pentagon. That's what's happening. It's the same story again with Iraq. ISIS immediately took back Iraq after we dropped out, all by design, so they can continue to sell more weapons. What happened? This has happened under Bush and Obama. What happened with Trump with Syria? We jump out of Syria, boom, the Kurds get wiped out. ISIS takes over. Boom. Escalating and never-ending conflict. Afghanistan, what does Donald Trump do? He releases 5,000 Afghani militants. He releases the head of the political office of the new Taliban regime right now in Afghanistan. This was not a three-way negotiation between the Taliban, the Afghani forces, and the United States. The arms were sent to the Taliban because the Taliban and America negotiated the deal under Trump amongst themselves. This left the Afghani forces out in the dirt to have to negotiate with the Taliban themselves without America. And let's be real. When you've been bombing, when you've been hearing bombing and machine guns for days and days for 20 years, these people grew sick and tired of it. They grew sick and tired of the war that they're not going to fight. They didn't want a war. This was happening for 20 years. They wanted this to end. They knew this was all going to happen. Donald Trump started it. Joe Biden honored the agreement. Donald Trump has ushered in the Taliban to negotiate a deal with his friends, his good pals. Biden simply honored the agreement. He honored Donald Trump's agreement to make the Taliban strong without involving the Afghan forces in negotiation of the withdrawal. He gave the Taliban all the time that they could to prepare for this. Donald Trump said it was time to take our boys home. It's time to leave everyone by May. Much mad incompetence. Weapons have made their way to the Taliban. Taliban militants were released. Wow. Head of the political office, second in line to the president, Donald Trump release. Amazing, isn't it? Amazing. The only thing that was botched with Biden is the fact that all the Americans should have been pulled out before the troops. But this is all by design. This is all by design so they can create more enemies. You had ISIS. What's next? What's next in Afghanistan? What's next? Well, what force is going to emerge that is suddenly going to be a new threat to American national security? What's next? We're all sick and tired of the war. Time to bring our people home. Enough said. Road to hell is paved with good intentions or deceitful intentions. This is what you get with the emergence of ISIS. This is what you get with the immediate blitzkrieg through Syria right after Trump brought everybody home. And the same thing with Afghanistan. It's all by design. Won't surprise me if we see troops go back to Afghanistan. Trump was bringing down the troop count, and Joe Biden honored the agreement. This has all been orchestrated by the Pentagon. These guys are listening to what the next grand agenda of the Pentagon is. They want to create a new enemy? Do they want to create a new conflict? That's all Trump did. He let the Taliban run loose. The Afghanis did not want to fight at all. The women did not fight at all. The women were not even trained, and they were the ones who could gain the most out of this. This ain't for us to take care of. It's time to go home. But this guy whiffed big time. We decided not to bring all the Americans home first before bringing down the troops. But if you're worried about Taliban being a threat to American national security, this is all BS, because the military-industrial complex is saying, now this is now a bad thing. This is now a bad thing never going out of Afghanistan. Media is now saying, is this all a mistake? It's all military-industrial complex, MIC propaganda. We have Donald Trump to thank the most for this, for all of these Afghani militants that he released, and we have Joe Biden to thank for simply honoring the agreement crafted under Donald Trump, the great mitigated disaster.